At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Oh, the sick day struggle is real. But with Dimetapp, it doesn't have to be. Children's Dimetapp works quickly to soothe multiple bothersome cough, cold, and allergy symptoms in a single dose. Our fast-acting formulas are designed with kids in mind, so they get everything they need and nothing they don't. Available in liquid and on-the-go chewable tablets. Tap the banner now to shop at Amazon and say goodbye to the sick day struggle with Dimetapp. Use as directed.
This podcast contains adult themes and language, and some of the things that we discuss may be disturbing to some listeners. In this podcast, we discuss sexual assault, torture, race, and murder. Listener discretion is advised. Please take care of yourself.
So now we're going to get into the early life of Stewart Rudolph Weldon. So hit it, Beth.
So Stewart Rudolph Weldon was born on June 24th, 1977, in the Jamaica neighborhood of Queens, New York, to Stewart Weldon Sr. and Constance White. We don't know much about his early life, but as a child, he and his family moved to Montclair, New Jersey, a wealthy suburb of New York City.
I just wonder if it was it wealthy in the 70s or 80s when they moved? I'm
just
posing the question to the universe because I'm wondering about that.
I don't recall specifically where I got this information, so it might have been from a story about him, or it could have been from history, like Encyclopedia Britannica or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
That's my roundabout, long-winded answer to your question, which is I don't know.
Well, guess what? It's perfectly acceptable. I'll take it. I'll take it and eat it all up, and I won't leave any crumbs. Thank you, Beth, for that answer. I appreciate it. It was something I was curious about given the economic constraints on African Americans in America and their ability to move and live places.
But we have covered some stories about people who have had money and lived in, wealthier neighborhoods. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility.
You are absolutely right. Thanks, Beth. I'm glad we had this talk. So, Stewart's father died when he was a teenager.
That's rough.
Yeah, that is definitely a big T trauma that will stay with you. So some of his friends said that afterwards his mother spoiled him. By that, they may mean that she had difficulty disciplining him. He was described by some members of his family as having a kind heart, but said that he struggled with mental health and substance abuse issues.
Yeah, so his dad died when he was a teenager. That's rough. That'll fuck you up. Teenagers might act out after that. And as a single mom who just lost her husband.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just really rough too. I mean, teenagers are hard anyway.
But imagine how, life was one way. You were doing this kid family thing with a partner.
Yeah.
And now you don't have that partner. And
now you're alone.
Yeah. And so everything is
your
different.
kid's a teenager and probably being an asshole because teenagers are assholes.
Yeah.
Not all of them. If there's any teenagers out there listening, I'm not talking about you.
No, not the ones listening. Certainly not. But when trauma is the only word I can think of, because when something like that happens, like the loss of a parent, you have to figure out at some point how you can exist in the world as a person without your loved one. And that's challenging for even grown-ups. And so very hard for a teenager who's coming into their own.
Yeah, not only that, but one of his lawyers later said that he had severe ADHD and cognitive difficulties. And he began to get into trouble when he was a teenager. And his criminal history, which included violent attacks and weapons charges, was described by one article as robust.
Wow.
That cracked me up.
Another word I really enjoy
Robust.
saying, doesn't get
Yeah.
used enough, but okay. Gives us a picture for sure. In 1996, when Weldon was 19 years old, he and a friend, Dwight Pottinger, went to a mall where they met a group of 3 young women. They offered the girls rides home, and after 2 were dropped off, locked the car doors and refused to allow the third to exit the vehicle.
The then 18-year-old woman told police later that Pottinger threatened her with a gun and sexually assaulted her in the vehicle before Weldon drove her home to her parents' house. Both Pottinger and Weldon were charged with sexual assault, and Pottinger was also charged with making terroristic threats, aggravated criminal sexual assault, and kidnapping.
Those are very serious charges
Very
for
serious.
anyone. So Weldon was arrested again later that year following an incident in East Orange, New Jersey, on gun charges and kidnapping. He took a plea deal and was sentenced to 3 years probation.
In 1997, so the next year in New Jersey, Weldon was charged with unlawful possession of rifles and shotguns. He was also later charged with breaking and entering. In Massachusetts, he was charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, and he was jailed in 2005.
Released in 2008, he was out of prison for just over a month before he was jailed again in October 2008 for burglary and probation violations. At some point, Weldon moved 150 miles north to western Massachusetts.
He lived for some time in a Westfield apartment complex where one of his aunts also lived. In October of 2010, Weldon was arrested on charges of unarmed robbery, assault and battery on a police officer, and resisting arrest, among other charges. He was apprehended by police while attempting to break into R&R grocery store in Springfield.
This is kind of a tangent, but I have known people who have robbed grocery stores or restaurant chains, and I just always wonder, why did you do that? Because there's no way you're going to get away with it. There's just no way. Why would you do that? I'm talking to you from jail. What made you think that you could get away with robbing a grocery store or a fast food restaurant? I just don't know. But he did. And the police report stated, quote, Mr. Weldon was threatening a man, yelling, "I'm going to kill you because I hate Puerto Ricans. They robbed me." At this time, we attempted to separate Mr. Weldon from the man, which caused Mr. Weldon to become violent. Mr. Weldon began swinging/striking us in the torso area and shouting, "I'm FBI, N-word," quote. Okay, so he was like, "I'm FBI, nigga." And then, well, why didn't you identify yourself? Come on.
Yeah, I included this story because it's kind of nuts and it gives you kind of an idea of what this guy was up to.
What we are dealing with here. I'm so glad you said that. Thanks, friend.
After Weldon was handcuffed, later in the report it states, quote, Mr. Weldon appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. His speech was slurry and the smell of alcohol emanated from his person. Due to Mr. Weldon's violent behavior, we also believe that he might have been under the influence of a narcotic substance, unquote.
Okay. Well, so I hate it when police say this kind of thing in their reports without having evidence to back it up.
Right. They're just saying he's acting
weird.
On drugs.
Yeah. And the only reason why I bring that up is because to this day, 4 years after George Floyd was murdered, there are still people, because the police said we thought he was under the influence of narcotics,
right,
who will say he died of a drug overdose and not,
right.
You know what I mean? So it leaves room for...
it's wiggle room.
Yeah, wiggle room for inaccuracies and falsehoods.
Right.
But the report also states, quote, prior to leaving the scene, Mr. Weldon began to strike his head up against the cage, which separates the rear seats from the front seats. He began to state, "I'm going to sue. You guys beat me." We advised Mr. Weldon to stop banging his head against the cage, but that caused him to do so harder and /faster. For Mr. Weldon's safety, we were forced to use our department-issued pepper spray in order to stop Mr. Weldon from hurting himself, unquote. And again, that's more police speak.
Right.
And some people might say, well, the police said it, so it must be true, but I don't know.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, they could have beat him and then said, well, he was
Oh
banging
my
his head
gosh,
against
he
the
banged
cage,
his head
you know?
so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give
So
all the
many
details
times,
about
yeah.
that part, but not
Right.
none of the details about their physical
Right.
actions.
So take that how you will.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Global X. Since 2008, Global X ETFs has been committed to empowering investors with unexplored, intelligent solutions. Global X specializes in exchange-traded funds that offer exposure to the artificial intelligence ecosystem, including themes like data centers, robotics, semiconductors, and cloud computing. To learn more about Global X's entire suite of ETFs, from covered calls, fixed income, emerging markets, and more, visit globalxetfs.com.
And we're back with Canva Presents Secret Sounds Work Edition. Caller, guess this sound.
It's a mouse click.
So close! That's actually publishing a website with Canva Docs. Next caller.
Definitely a mouse click.
Nice try. It was sorting 100 sticky notes with a Canva whiteboard. We also would have accepted resizing a Canva video into 10 different sizes.
What? No way.
Yes way. One click can go a long way. Love your work at canva.com.
Weldon was given prison time and released in January of 2012. According to Hannah Weldon, Stewart's aunt, news about what her nephew was up to was very sporadic throughout the years. She said, quote, "You see him and you don't see him. The majority of that side of the family, they all stayed in jail. There was nothing we could do," unquote.
I get her frustration. We're reading the quote, but I can hear the frustration in her
Words.
Yeah, like, he wasn't here. You know, I'm sure Auntie tried to provide him with a stable, safe home. And when she saw that he was beyond her capacity to help or her ability to help,
Yeah.
that's
really
frustrating.
frustrating, yeah.
That is just frustrating.
Yeah.
So it's been reported that Weldon made money through dealing drugs and went by the name Jersey. Ayo. So he was known to be abusive towards his girlfriend. Not good. More than one person attempted to intervene on her behalf, but she asked them to stop because, quote, "it would only make things worse for her," unquote.
A previous girlfriend of Weldon's, a resident of New Jersey, said that she took her son and ran from Weldon, alleging that he attempted to kill both her and their child. Weldon's family said he struggled with mental health problems for decades and that he'd been off his meds for a long time.
So between 2002 and 2017, Weldon was arrested 16 different times and was charged with 68 different offenses. Now, I see that and also hear what Beth just said. This is somebody who needs help bad.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, he's not getting it and people around him are getting harmed.
Right.
So he moved to Springfield in 2016 after his mother, Constance White, purchased a 3-bedroom bungalow on Page Boulevard in the city's East Springfield neighborhood.
On October 14th, 2017, Weldon was arrested again in Springfield near Forest Park after he was accused of attacking a woman on the street. While being taken into custody, he reportedly resisted officers, allegedly biting one officer on the leg during the struggle.
Whoa!
Yeah. He had 8 charges related to the attack and resisting arrest.
Weldon's mother posted bail in early December, and he went back to the house on Page Boulevard to live with his longtime girlfriend and their daughter. So it's his daughter and his girlfriend's daughter. Although his mother owned the home, we are unsure if she also lived there. So now let's hop on into the timeline. Hit it, Beth!
Weldon has been described as a chronic crack cocaine user, and at methadone clinics in drug-afflicted neighborhoods of Springfield and Chicopee, Weldon had a reputation for being erratic and violent.
Though many people on High Street at the methadone clinics knew Weldon or the 3 women, it is not known how Weldon met them.
America, Canales Leiden, Kayla Escalante, and Weldon all frequented High Street. South Congregational Church at the end of High Street serves 200 free meals over several days each week, and the pastor there, Reverend Tom Gerstenlauer, said that America and Kayla were regulars at one time.
According to Viraj Mahida, owner of Cottage Street Liquors, Weldon patronized his store daily. and the three women were also regular customers. According to Mahida, Weldon stopped in several times a day to buy natural ice beer by the can, often with his girlfriend.
Natty Ice.
Natty Ice! Oh my God! Oh my God. You said those words and like a flood of really embarrassing memories hit the
Came
forefront
back.
of my brain. Oh my God. Yeah, Natty Ice. Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome. Anytime.
I must say, though, I think that my adventures with Natty Ice and Beth, like if we were friends back then, would have been so different.
Oh, they would have been epic.
They would have been amazing. I mean, there would be banners and movies made about it. We would be the Thelma and Louise, of Natty Ice.
In any case, Weldon seemed to prey on women in relapse or withdrawal, plying them with free drugs before turning abusive. He would charm women back to his home with promises to get high. There, he would bring them to his basement to smoke crack, then attack them in a nearby room.
America Jordan Canales Leiden, 34, was the first to be reported missing on December 1st of 2017. Although she was known for her sunny personality and her quickness to smile and a hug, America had come apart after her sister Felicia Canales Gomez died in 2010 of a drug overdose.
America then struggled with drug addiction herself, and she took to calling herself Jordan, the name her sister often used. America's family remembered her as a kind soul who went out of her way to help others despite her own struggles. And she had 2 daughters.
Her name that she wanted to be called Jordan,
Yeah.
spelled like Michael Jordan.
Oh, right.
And, it's a basketball town, right? And so I wonder if
Oh.
that had something to do with it. But I love
Yeah,
the
I don't
idea
know.
of America being like somebody who loved basketball. I don't know if any of the family members said that, and that's why.
No, I don't remember seeing that, but that is a nice
In my head,
thought.
that's what it's about.
That's what's going on.
Yeah. So rest in power to America, of course. But her sister Mari said that America was sweet. Quote, "My sister was a good human being. She was just going through her struggles," unquote. Mari said that her sister was known to go off-grid sometimes. So when America first dropped out of contact in late summer of 2017, her family didn't worry too much.
But when she didn't show up for Thanksgiving, they knew something was wrong. In December of 2017, Mari wrote on social media that her sister was, quote, missing and could be in danger, unquote. She wrote that America was last seen in the Springfield area in August of 2017.
Ernestine Ryans, 47, was the next to be reported missing. On March 18th, 2018, 10 days after her family had seen her last. Ernestine had gone missing before, but never for that long. Ernestine's sister raised the alarm, urging anyone with information to contact the local police.
According to her younger brother, Anthony, Ernestine, too, battled issues with drug use. He recalled his sister as popular, mischievous, a loving mother, and someone who, when he was a shy youngster, protected him from bullies.
That's so beautiful and sweet.
Yeah.
Just kind of wanted to hold space for that really, really beautiful memory of her.
Yeah.
So she also had 2 daughters, one 25 and one 12. And her brother said that she had always tried to be a good mother despite her demons. Ernestine was from Hartford, Connecticut, but had recently moved to Springfield. So when she first disappeared, her family held out hope that she had gone to Connecticut.
Anthony Ryans later said, quote, I know my sister. She was a fighter, and I'm sure she put up one heck of a fight, unquote.
The youngest of the 3 women, Kayla K. Escalante, 27, was never reported missing at all. Kay was born in Springfield, where she had gone to Catholic school and played first base in youth softball league.
According to court records, she was dealing with drug and mental health issues and was alienated from her family. Those who knew Kay said that she often talked about getting clean. Around 2012, Kay moved to Florida for a new start.
She was prolific on social media, as young people are, amen?
Yeah.
Posting frequently on MySpace and later on Facebook. In a 2014 social media post, she said, quote, clean and sober, 90 days today. Fuck yeah, feels amazing, unquote. And in the image that she posted, she was holding up a keychain that read, clean and serene. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is nice.
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, she was back in Springfield where she joined New Day Church. Congregants took her in, baptized her, and even threw her a baby shower because she was expecting a little girl. Kay's friend David LaBerge said, quote, "She was like a big ball of smiles. Despite all that she had going on, she was always in a good vibe," unquote.
You just know it was good if they reported good vibes.
Yeah.
So, but more recent social media posts suggested that she had relapsed. And in January 2016, Chicopee police took her to Bay State Medical Center in Springfield after she threatened to complete suicide. 6 months later, Springfield police arrested her after finding her with crack cocaine in the High Street neighborhood.
In December 2017, Kay went missing. One of her last photos shows her smiling while holding her little girl in her arms.
So now we're going to move on to the investigation and arrest part of the show. And with this case, in early 2018, Weldon, who was now 40, had around 20 cases against him, 3 of which were still open. After his arrest in October 2017 for attacking police officers, he was released on bond with pre-trial conditions, which included home confinement with a GPS monitoring device and a ban on driving.
Weldon missed a meeting with his probation officer on February 12, 2018. He then cut off and discarded his GPS monitoring device, and a warrant was issued for his arrest, which they had to have known where he lived.
Of course.
I mean, they could just go to his house.
But I believe that is state property. By the way, this is a culture corner on the system. So they make you pay for this monitoring device.
Right.
And pay to maintain it.
Right.
But it's not yours. It's the state's. So if you tamper with it, you will go back to jail and you will probably also get fined for damaging the device.
Right. But I'm just saying, they put out a warrant for his arrest. They could have just gone and arrested him, but they didn't.
They could have, but by then, who knows where he was if he cut it off?
Did they even look?
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. You know, I was listening to the post of us last week, and there was something I kept saying. But then you kept saying, but we don't know. And then I was like, yeah, we don't know. But also, I didn't appreciate it at the time, but you were trying to get me to move on, which I think you're doing now.
I don't even remember that.
It's okay.
No, I think we were just misunderstanding each other. Is what I'm thinking.
Well, but I love it when those moments happen, and it's happening again. And I'm gonna just
but
say, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Beth is right. We don't know, but we do know on May 27th, 2018, at around 11:15 p.m., while Weldon was driving in his Nissan Altima. By the way, that's a very black car. Springfield. I don't know why.
I didn't know that.
I don't know why, but black people, a lot of black people drive Nissans.
They're like Nissans.
It's a reliable, not American car.
Yeah, Nissans are good cars.
It's a reliable, not American car, and it's less expensive than a Toyota or a Tesla. So a lot of black people drive them. And then they trick them out. But anyway, so Springfield police pulled him over for a broken taillight. But when the officers exited their cruiser to speak with him, Weldon just took off.
He then led police on a high-speed, wrong-way chase, which ended when he smashed into a police cruiser and nearly ran over one of the officers.
Oh.
Weldon violently resisted arrest, kicking at an officer's legs and elbowing another in the chest and shoulders. The officers sprayed him with pepper spray to bring him under control, and he was arrested. He likes that pepper spray.
He seems to have a lot more encounters with it than the average bear.
Yes, yes.
But I will also say, I mean, he knew what prison was like. I'm sure he didn't want to go back.
Yeah, he did not want to go.
I'm sure he didn't want to go back.
Yeah, that's why all this happened.
Yeah. So police recovered 2 knives from his pockets. They also found a 25-year-old woman in the car with severe injuries. What? The woman, who was the mother of at least one of his children, told police that Weldon had been holding her against her will for a month, and that he tortured and raped her, beating her with a hammer and a copper pipe and his fists.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Police said in their report she showed signs of prolonged abuse. She had suffered several stab wounds, had marks from being hit with a blunt object, and she had a possible fractured jaw and a leg infection.
Oh!
The injured woman thanked police for saving her life, telling officers that she believed that Weldon was going to kill her. And he probably was.
He probably was. Statistically, those numbers are not good if
Not
you're in
good,
this
yeah.
situation.
Yeah. And she was taken to the hospital.
They really did save her life.
Yeah.
So Weldon was arrested and held without bail. He was initially charged with 1 count of kidnapping, 1 count of sexual assault, and a traffic-related offense. After the case became public, a second woman came forward telling police Weldon had attacked her.
She said that he had offered her a ride home in February, but then drove her to his home on Page Boulevard and tried to drag her inside as she fought his advances. The woman escaped, she said, after another woman intervened.
3 days later, on May 30th, which would have been Kay Escalante's 27th birthday, Weldon's mother, Constance White, called 911 to report a, quote, rancid smell and an unusual amount of flies, unquote, in the home on Page Boulevard, which she owned. And this is why I'm not sure if she lived there. Or, would she not have noticed this the day before, the week before, years
the
before?
months before.
Yeah.
Because these people all disappeared like in December.
Yeah.
So it's been months.
Yeah. And I wonder what he was telling her.
Yeah.
Because I imagine if she's a mom and her son is staying at a property she owns, me as a mom, I love my son very much, but I would go and check on the place.
Check on him,
That's my property, bro. So
right.
I imagine if she didn't live there, she was probably checking up on it.
Yeah, but if she did live there, was he doing something to mask the smell and then he was gone? So then, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was lighting up a whole bunch of incense.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So a toddler was found alive at the home, and police took the child into state custody. And I believe this was his daughter with his girlfriend, the one that he was
injured in the car
and torturing.
Yeah.
While searching for the source of the smell, officers found a human body in a state of decomposition in a basement bathroom. It was Kay Escalante. Her partially clothed body was found with packaging tape over her mouth, her wrists and ankles bound.
Oh my God. And there was a toddler in this home?
There was a toddler in the house, yeah.
Oh my God. So with this discovery, police were able to get a search warrant. 2 more discoveries quickly followed. Ernestine Ryan's body was found in the home's single-car detached garage wrapped in a tarp. America Leiden's remains were discovered in a hole inside of a shed.
America and Kay's bodies were found bound with electrical cords and other cables. Plastic sheeting was found with the body of Ernestine Ryan's. All 3 death certificates eventually listed homicidal violence as the cause of death.
After 7 days on the scene at the home on Page Boulevard, can you imagine? So there's investigators, there's people taking pictures, there's cameras, there's press.
Right.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and for the whole community, this probably really, really sucked.
Yeah.
To have this happen, in your backyard.
Right.
Investigators wrapped up their investigation of the property after the week, and they hauled evidence bags out and left piles of dirt they had dug from the yard on the front lawn.
Investigators collected 60 items from the home's basement, including 18 from a cedar closet and 16 from a bathroom, areas where police sources say they found significant amounts of blood. On the home's first floor, police gathered 57 items, with many coming from a kitchen trash can.
Wait, from one trash can?
One trash can.
The Viola Davis show, by now, How to Get Away with Murder, had been on TV. You don't leave evidence in the trash?
Yeah, he was a messy killer, for sure.
Yeah. So the car Weldon was driving at the time of his May 27th arrest yielded 10 pieces of evidence, including a sheet found in the trunk with red and brown stains and a knife blade from the driver's side door. Also found was an item described as, quote, 2 wooden sticks with wire attached, unquote. So a garrote. And I don't know what that word means, but is it
Garrote.
like Lucille from The Walking Dead?
Lucille.
The baseball bat with the barbed wire on it?
Oh, no, a garrote. It is just 2 wooden sticks with wire attached. So you wrap the wire around somebody's neck and then you have the sticks and you can pull it tight.
What?
Yeah.
No!
That's what a garrote is. Yeah.
What? Somebody owns that?
Yep.
Oh my God. I'm speechless, so I'm going to just keep reading. DNA collected from the garrote matched Weldon's genetic profile. Oh my gosh.
The 3 murdered women were identified as Ernestine Ryans, 47, of Springfield, America Lydon, 34, of Springfield, and Kay Escalante, 27, of Ludlow. Once the victims' names were publicized along with Weldon's image, other women began calling the police and reporting that they, too, had been attacked by Weldon, but had escaped or were let go.
Wow. I just, I don't know what to say. I think it's so wonderful that so many women came forward.
Yeah.
After this all came to light. And that's a good thing.
TaxAct knows small business owners can sometimes use a little help with their taxes. That's why TaxAct has Expert Assist, a team of live tax experts ready to answer any questions you may have. Think of them as your own personal sidekick. Not like one of those funny talking animal sidekicks, more like the super smart nerding out on tax code and business casual attire sidekick, but just as helpful and lovable. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
So in July of 2018, it was discovered that DNA evidence had linked Weldon to sexual assaults reported to police in 2009 and 2017. Weldon had not been charged in either case. In the 2009 case, the DNA was linked in 2011, but police could not find that woman.
In the 2017 case, the woman reported the assault to Chicopee police, who opened up an investigation, but it turned out that the attack actually took place in Springfield. So Chicopee police told the woman to report it to Springfield police, but she did not. And why didn't they just talk to Springfield for her? And Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this...
They really treat victims poorly.
Let the police misconduct bells begin ringing.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. When DNA evidence came back linking Weldon to the attack, Chicopee police contacted Springfield, who had no open cases.
Right.
So they did nothing.
Yeah.
And if I hadn't said it yet, I'm going to say it now. These were messy ass hoes.
Yeah.
So now let's get into the trial, and I'm going to hit it.
Okay.
Weldon's family said that they were shocked by the news of bodies found in and around the Springfield home. Teresa Jenkins, Weldon's aunt, said, quote, "We just can't believe it because he does have a kind heart. He really does when he's, Stewart," unquote. And
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess.
Do we need to say anything else? That's it.
That's it. Yeah. On August 16th, 2018, more than 2 months after his arrest, Weldon was indicted on 52 charges. The indictment also listed additional victims who were allegedly raped, kidnapped, strangled, or assaulted, identified only by their initials.
52 indictments is a lot, but I know somebody who has more.
Who's got more?
So the indictment included 3 counts of first-degree murder, 8 counts of strangulation, 9 counts of aggravated rape, 2 counts of rape, 5 counts of aggravated kidnapping, and 4 counts of kidnapping. Weldon pleaded, you're not going to believe this, not guilty.
His trial was set for April 2020, but due to COVID was postponed. Then on September 28th, 2021, Weldon pleaded guilty to 3 first-degree murder charges.
Wow.
He also pleaded guilty to a slew of other charges linked to the kidnapping and sexual assaults of 5 more women who survived.
Wow. Yeah, he must have realized that the writing was on the wall. That, by now, this is 2017. I had a thought for a minute that we haven't really been getting much serial killer cases that happen after the early aughts. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is clearly one of those cases. And despite technology and progress in policing and legal systems and all this stuff and society, this still happens.
Yeah.
So, on September 30th, 2021, Weldon listened expressionlessly as more than a dozen family members of the victims and the women who survived his attacks testified at his sentencing hearing. I love that.
The 5 living victims offered similar accounts of being tortured at his home to varying degrees. One woman reported that he hit her with a 2x4 with a nail in it. Another told police Weldon dragged her by the hair and locked her in a room for 4 hours as she pleaded to leave.
That's horrifying. Another said that he assaulted her, then apologized before punching her in the face.
Whoa.
Yeah. Then grabbing her hair and strangling her. He struck her more than 20 times and let her leave only after he made her clean her own blood from the floor.
Oh my God. That's awful.
Mm-hmm.
One victim, when describing how Weldon brought her home and temporarily held her captive, beat her, and raped her, told the judge, quote, "I really thought I was going to die on that day," unquote.
Kayla's mother, Lori Escalante, told the judge she was heartbroken over losing her daughter and also knowing that her granddaughter wouldn't remember her mother.
One of Ernestine Ryan's daughters told the judge, quote, "For 3 months, I wondered every single day where my mom was and if she was okay. Then to find out she was lying alone in a dirty, dark garage," unquote.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
One of America's daughters said, quote, "My future children will never know their grandmother and how sweet she was. She won't see me get married. She won't be there when I buy my first house or if I have questions as a new mom. For her life to end in such a cruel way is not something I can wrap my head around. I know justice will be served, but that won't bring my mom back," unquote.
Weldon was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. He had to register as a sex offender and submit his DNA to the state.
Okay, so now we're going to get into where are they now? I'll tell you. Weldon is currently serving his time at Old Colony Correctional Center in Bridgewater, Massachusetts.
Services for Ernestine Ryans were held in Bloomfield, Connecticut. Kayla Escalante was buried at St. Aloysius Cemetery, northeast of downtown Springfield. America Jordan Canales-Leiden was buried in Worcester with her sister Felicia Canales-Gomez, who had died in 2010.
So now we're going to get into our takes. What do you think about this case, Beth?
So it sounds like he had ADHD and some cognitive deficits, according to his lawyer.
Right.
He was born in 1977, and people didn't really understand ADHD back then. Actually, people still don't really understand it.
Yeah, I'll say.
Kids with ADHD are often punished more than kids without ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
They also often don't respond the same way to punishment. They respond negatively, like it's not helpful.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing harsh punishments. I don't know if he got harsh punishments, but,
Yeah.
it's possible.
It's possible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
We don't know. We
Beth.
don't know. We don't know. Also, kids with ADHD also struggle with executive functioning, and they're years behind their neurotypical peers in brain development. And like I said, punishments often have the opposite effect on ADHD kids, and they just feel shame, like they're intrinsically bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure it also makes them feel incredibly angry and they act out. I don't know for sure if this is the case with Weldon, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that, kids who are neurodivergent or people who are neurodivergent, the ones who do make it through the school system and realize the strengths that they had to develop while enduring it because of their neurodivergence. I love stories like that about people who triumph in spite of, even though this or that.
Right.
And it's just too bad that that did not happen to Stewart Rudolph Weldon. It's also too bad that it didn't happen for his victims.
Yeah.
Because we don't know a lot about them growing up or anything like that. But, they ended up in difficult positions dealing and struggling with substances.
Right.
And I know that for adults with ADHD, there's a lot of people in my support groups who didn't get diagnosed until they were adults.
Yeah.
And it was illuminating and life-changing to understand that your brain works like that if you have ADHD, and to be able to use that knowledge to be well and not continue to suffer and cause harm to the people around you.
Yeah.
I also think that it sounded like, from what the auntie said, that there was a part of his family with just people who had been institutionalized in and out of jail. And so when you have in your midst, or you're being raised by folks who've been chewed up and spit out by systems and institutions, and then you on top of that have mental illness.
Yeah.
I just wonder about your chances of winning in a society like ours.
It's rough.
I started researching this case by watching the sentencing hearing. That was my first take. And I was actually really, really glad that I don't usually start cases researching that way.
Yeah.
But I was really glad that I did, because I got to really see the impact of the people who were willing to share statements, particularly that one daughter who said she's never going to see me get married or buy a house, or know my kids
really
aren't going to know her. That was devastating. And Weldon did a lot of damage to so many hearts and families and communities. And his actions were so callous, without any regard for human life.
Yeah.
It just escalated. After that big trauma where he lost his dad and he was a young person acting out without language to verbalize or communicate what he was feeling inside.
Yeah.
Never got help, escalated, and it went from the things on the rap sheet that are less consequential to sexual assault, and eventually taking the lives of people. And when I was researching this case, found a stat that 99% of rapists won't get any time. No time at all.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But if you think about it, think about all the rapes that happen behind closed doors, and people can't report them because of fear, whatever reason, So I don't know how true that statistic is, but it did blow me away to hear it. And I think that it is remarkable that he was caught. I also think it was really amazing that so many women or victims came forward after he was caught. And so I'm just trying to find the silver linings in this case.
Yeah.
Because it's just sad. It's just sad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The women who were in relationship with him, who were also his victims of intimate partner abuse. And that one woman who said the police saved her life when they captured him or arrested him. And I'm always in my head hearing the naysayers who are like, why didn't she leave? We've talked about how women, Black women or women of color or women who are in compromised positions, meaning they are with somebody who has traditionally been harmed really badly by the state, or historically the cards are stacked against them, and you don't want to report that one bad thing that was done to you at the hands of that person because it could be worse.
Right.
And so I understand the fear and the, what is that? When you're not sure or and afraid to do something. I can't think of the word, but I understand that. And
the hesitancy.
Yeah. So I just, there's probably people listening to this who are like, he could have been caught a long time ago if those women would have come forward. But there's a lot of reasons why they didn't.
Well, yeah. And also, especially if they were sex workers, they were probably like, yeah, the police aren't going to do anything anyway. So
yeah, sex workers or women who were in relationship with him, who probably
the women who were in the relationships with him. Right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking about there was 8 women who came forward and said that he attacked them.
Yeah. And also, fuck this guy, because I also feel like he probably attacked and hunted. I can't think of a better word than hunted. Went out and sought women who were vulnerable, either sex workers or with substance abuse problems.
Also, women who were walking down the street and needed a ride.
Yeah.
There was one woman who she needed a ride.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he just took advantage of people. And I don't like this guy. I wish he had I don't like this guy because,
I don't like this guy at all.
It's almost at every turn. It's worse.
It's worse.
He's running from police. Oh no, there's an injured woman in the car. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we go to his house.
Yeah.
There's a toddler in the house. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we're searching some more.
Yeah. And
bodies?
dead bodies.
Oh my God. I'm not cut out for this job. You know, like it's just everything with Stewart Rudolph Weldon is worse. If you every layer you uncover is worse. So nobody was done any favors by Weldon's work in the world, and we're glad he's put behind bars. Again, love and light to anybody who was affected by this case. And if you have any thoughts after listening to us tell the story and share our thoughts, let us know what you think. Beth, where can the people find us?
Our website is fruitloopspod.com, and we use Fruit Loops Pod for all of our social media.
This is a weekly podcast, and new episodes drop every Thursday. So until next time, look alive, y'all. It's crazy out there.
24 hours ago, I found out the person that I'd been dating and seeing for the last 6 months is a con man.
That is my sister Emma. Andrew Tonks's lies had been so convincing, she'd invested $300,000 with him. However, the tables were about to turn on Andrew. What he didn't know was that Emma had discovered his real identity. But to get any chance of justice, Emma had to act like it was business as usual. Coming up in this series,
and that's when murder, all this stuff goes through my mind. I'm really, really scared.
I'm assuming Sarah has watched too much Netflix and figures I've been defrauding you. Couldn't be further from the truth.
That's what this was, a real-life story that seems so unbelievable, but it was actually true.
A true story that all starts with one simple swipe to the right. I'm Sarah Ferris.
And I'm Emma Ferris, and this is my story, Conning the Con.
So when the scammer uses the hypnotic method of building rapport, then they create dysfunctional, delusional reality.
That's how a scam begins, convincing the mark that it makes perfect sense to hand over their money to a con artist. The Scams and Cons podcast tells you how scams are run. You'll hear how people are convinced to buy fake art, buy machines that print money, or steal your house.
I get a phone call from my wife, and she let me know that they had decided to move all our stuff out. I could no longer do anything about it except go through an eviction.
And you'll hear it from the experts, people who run the cons.
So we go to your bank, you go in and get $6,000 cash, give us each $3,000, we give you this. You go home, and what you find out is cut up newspaper.
It's fun to know how the trick is done, and that's what Scams and Cons is all about. Listen at scamsandcons.com or wherever fine podcasts are found.